Pam, when it comes to home warranty, I don't know that many agents actually connect the home warranty part to getting business. But I think that's because they don't understand fully what home warranty can do for them. So
Sure.
can you go into a little bit about how to actually utilize the home warranty part and say, hey, look, this is what it includes, this is what it can do? Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. We've got 210 Home Warranty with us. And from there, we have Pam Hurt. Pam, welcome.
Thank you, Tristan.
So what is it that you do for 210 Home Warranty?
So I am the district manager for Tennessee and the Carolinas region of 210 Home Buyers Warranty. Before that, I was an account executive covering the southeastern North Carolina area.
Nice. And you know what? On the 210 part, I wasn't sure before if it was 2 to 10 or 2 to 10.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, there we go. How's that? Tom, can you hear me, Pam?
Yeah, your audio is good.
There you go.
All right. 210, what does that mean? 210, 2 to 10? Where does that come from?
Great question. So we actually started as a builder's warranty. And so many of you will be familiar with hearing the 10-year structural, 2-year systems, delivery systems for new construction. So that's how we started, and that's how we got our name. So it was the 2-year delivery systems and 10-year structural for builders.
Oh, easy. And then you progress from there. Well, Pam, thank you. And thanks for bringing in Tom. Tom, welcome, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I love your background.
Thank you. Yeah. So I am the 2021 president of Cape Fear Realtors there. So that's the reason why this banner stays on this year. So,
Nice.
but yeah, and I'm a Coldwell Banker agent here in the Wilmington area in southeastern North Carolina. My team and I have helped about 2,500 buyers and sellers over the years and counting. So we enjoy, I always joke that somebody's got to sell a paradise. It might as well be me. So.
Well, we were talking a little bit about price points, and you guys have never had a hurricane. Great. So
That's right.
On the beach, 350,000 average price point, but not on the beach, but just in general. Right. That's not bad, man. That's a great beach town price point.
Yeah. And we've got the university and, historic stuff and low taxes. It's a good spot to be.
All right. So let's start with Pam. Pam, when it comes to home warranty, I don't know that many agents actually connect the home warranty part to getting business. But I think that's because they don't understand fully what home warranty can do for them. So
Sure.
Can you go into a little bit about how to actually utilize the home warranty part and say, hey, look, this is what it includes, this is what it can do? Because I'm not sure I even fully understand it.
Okay, sure. So at the most basic level, a home warranty is a risk management tool. So what we do is manage the risk of our homeowners. And then when the property is involved in a real estate transaction, it also manages the risk of the agents and the brokerages involved in the real estate transaction. But what a home warranty covers is the major systems and appliances in the home that have failures due to normal wear and tear. So we're different than homeowners insurance. Everybody thinks about homeowners insurance and you've got to have homeowners insurance. What that covers is, when there's damage or loss associated with your home. But again, the home warranty covers the systems and appliances that fail due to normal wear and tear. So just because you're living in the house and use the systems and appliances, they fail over time. In fact, there's a 68% chance of a system or appliance failure in a 12-month period.
Oh,
so so 68% chance. So we manage the risk of our homeowners by helping them financially protect their budget when they experience those unexpected failures that happen. And then as far as managing the risk of the real estate agents, it's a home warranty is one of the 4 pillars of risk management. and from Rice Insurance, that is an errors and emissions carrier. They say the 4 pillars of risk management for a real estate agent are to use your state and local approved real estate contracts, residential disclosure as applicable. We know that's not used in all states. Third is to recommend a home inspection and have a waiver signed if the home inspection is refused. And fourth is to include a home warranty service agreement.
Nice.
So that's your
those
4
four.
pillars of risk management. So
Makes sense.
that's what the home warranty is designed to do, is to help manage everybody's risk and to be a cost mitigator for the homeowners.
All right, that makes sense. So Tom, how do you incorporate this into real estate so that you put it at the forefront and you attract business with it? How do you do that?
So yeah, so our company, makes it mandatory that we at least have the conversation. But I am a cautious person by nature, so it's something that I truly believe in the benefit to the client. So it's something that I always want to advise them about. But yeah, so at the very first conversation when we're talking about everything else with my sellers, I'm recommending that we put it on. It covers them at no additional cost during the listing period, and I always tell them, it's Murphy's Law, right? If you don't put it on there, something's going to go wrong. So, just put it on there. It costs you nothing extra. It's a benefit to the buyers. If you're reselling your home, it helps you to compete more with the new construction. It's, there's just no downside in my mind about having the home warranty. And as a matter of fact, with 210 anyway, because sometimes people say, well, I want to be able to offer the buyers the best price, possible or whatever. And I'm like, for the cost, if you get a buyer that's dickering over this amount and they don't want it, 210 will even say, fine, at closing, we'll take it off. You had it during the listing period, but the buyer doesn't want it, they'll take it off. Nobody has to pay anything out of pocket. And then that way you can give them that little bit of a discount at closing. But of course, every buyer wants it. So nobody, that never happens. But, it's nice to be able to tell sellers that, if a buyer comes along that really doesn't, that they're not bound by having it.
How do you use this to get more business? Is it something that you take to a listing appointment? Do you advertise this on postcards? Do you advertise it online? How do you get more business from this?
So yeah, just as a part of everything that I do, I really try and provide the top level service. And to me, I think it's again a top level service thing. 210 has a great track record with me and my clients. But yeah, so it's something that as a part of my entire listing presentation, I'm talking about, and I'm talking about the benefits. Again, that what we want to do is, if you're selling your home, we want to get to the finish line. If you're buying your home, you don't want to buy a lemon. I mean, so whether it's a buyer or a seller client, it's it's a benefit to them that, as Pam was saying, it's that risk mitigation. As a matter of fact, even on my own rental properties, I keep it because I'd rather pay the home warranty cost every year and then maybe a service call fee if something goes bad, as opposed to having some big surprise expense that I didn't bank on. So to me, I think it just helps to make it a predictable expense for everybody that's not too much and covers a lot of stuff.
Pam or Tom, because I don't know much on this side. Let's say I took a listing. Can I get the home warranty when I get the listing, or do I have to wait until the buyer moves in?
So you can get it on the listing. So that's one thing that we offer is complimentary listing coverage, is what we call it. So sellers can get the coverage as soon as they list their home. The real estate agent would enroll them with us with our listing coverage, and it covers the seller until closing. And also what it does, home warranties, we operate like insurance. We don't cover pre-existing conditions. So, everything has to be in good working order when the warranty begins. And so one of the great benefits of having listing coverage for your sellers is it starts the history on the property of all the systems and appliances. And so we're able to begin to build that record of them being in good working order and working, or if there is a claim, that we've fixed it and we've gotten it back into good working order. So that, once it closes and the buyer moves in, if they have a failure that happens, say the dishwasher goes out the day after they move in, but we've had listing coverage, we're able to look back and see, you know, that dishwasher's worked for 3 months while we've had the listing coverage on there. So, you know, it minimizes the risk again of something being seen as a pre-existing condition, because we started that history on the property as soon as the listing coverage is enrolled. And so it just minimizes any post-sale disputes.
What's the cost on the listing side? Like, let's say I have a listing and I'm like, hey, sellers, it's important to get this, or I'll even cover it as the agent. What's the cost?
So the price can vary a little bit state to state. You know, we are a national company, but sellers, when they get the listing coverage, they enroll in it. It's complimentary. They don't pay us up front for the listing. They don't pay until closing. And so depending on the state that you live in, the average cost is $500 to $600 for the warranty. And so that would, if the seller was paying for the buyer to have the warranty for a year, they would pay that at closing, or the buyer can purchase it. Even if the sellers had the listing coverage on there, perhaps the sellers decided they're not going to pay for it, the buyer can still purchase it.
Well, and that's one of the benefits that you know, to me, with my seller clients, is you don't have to pay it out of pocket. You pay it at closing, so you never see that money or whatever. It comes out of the proceeds. And it's risk free. If you put it on the market and the home doesn't sell, you don't owe anything. So I mean, it's kind of a no brainer for the sellers to go ahead and opt into that.
Interesting. So I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm not talking to you, but in general, right? I don't know why you wouldn't lead with this on a listing presentation and say, hey, look, we've also got this, and you don't have to pay for it, because as soon as you transfer it over, the buyer pays for it. It's great if you do, but you have the option. That's kind of cool. I like that. So have there been any deals that you have seen, either of you, Tom or Pam, that have saved the actual deals, like whether it's just a listing or you're under contract?
It's one of those things that it's hard to, you know, indicate if that was the selling point. But, you know, so again, especially if you're in an area where there's a lot of new home construction and people feel like, oh, well, it's going to be all new appliances and, you know, roof and, you know, whatever else. I think it helps to, you know, for this home that's a little bit older to compete in those areas. So I think that it, you know, does give those buyers the comfort to submit an offer on your home. So I think that, you know, there's stuff like that where it does help you to be in the running on the homes that people are considering.
All right. So
yeah, I think Tom makes a great point. We hear a lot of times that, you know, just provides that peace of mind to the buyers. So particularly when they're looking at a home that has older systems and appliances, particularly older HVAC or water heater, having the warranty coverage just gives that extra comfort level that if they have a failure, then they've got the coverage from the warranty.
And of course, buyers buy as much home as they can afford. So they don't typically have tons of cash, especially first-time buyers. Don't have tons of cash left over. So, you know, a big expense of an HVAC unit going out, you know, 3 months after you bought this house and just had all these expenses, they're really strapped and they can't, you know, swing those additional costs very easily. So to have, again, the peace of mind that, okay, fine, you pay $100 service call fee or whatever that amount is for them to come out, they'll fix or replace it. And that's, you know, one of the things that I can give my clients from personal experience is 210 has had, I'm probably their least favorite client. They've replaced 2 different HVAC units for me over the years on homes that I've owned.
Wow.
And it cost me $100. And I'm like, that was the deal of the century. And I thought for sure that they were going to say, well, let's duct tape it, you know, 17 times. And, you know, we'll keep coming out and we'll see if we can get it to run for another couple of months. And both times I thought for sure, and they don't know that I'm a realtor or anything like that. When they come out, they send the company out, but both times they were like, yeah, you know, we can't get the part, it's too old, whatever else. And sure enough, they, you know, without having to fight about it, I got a new HVAC unit. So I've been thrilled.
All right. So I have a question on that, because we often hear, and not with home warranty specifically, but with insurance, we typically hear that there are certain situations where pre-existing conditions then prohibit the process of replacement. So like Tom, for yours, how do they determine if there are pre-existing conditions? Do they do an
So yeah,
inspection?
well, and,
before?
as Pam was talking about, I had the home warranty on there for 2 or 3 years prior to having the issue. So Pam and 210 knew that it wasn't that I was adding the warranty because I was going to make a claim. I kept it in place, and so with that history, they knew that I wasn't going without HVAC for 3 years before I made my claim. But it helped to make it an affordable cost, when I did do that.
All right, it's a good question here
Yeah.
from Barbara. What are the limitations with a home warranty? That was actually my question, Barbara. You read my mind. I was going to say, so like, well, I want to go deeper, Barbara. Great question. What do you recommend then that the buyer, let's go with the buyer here. What type of home warranty should they get with 210? Should it be like just the basic, or should they just go all out and cover? I mean, I would assume just cover everything, the roof, the plumbing, the AC, the pool. Is that possible?
Well, and I'm not a paid endorsement here of 210. I'm just a big fan. And I don't know if all warranties are the same, but that's one of the things that I like about 210 is that they're not nickel and diming you for stuff. If you do have a swimming pool or something like that, that's kind of an add-on feature, then you do have to pay extra for something like that. But for the most part, it's pretty comprehensive. But I was telling Pam right before we started that 210 just replaced a water heater for me yesterday on a property that I own with my home warranty. And I did not opt for their supreme coverage, which is a little bit extra, but it covers for things like haul away fees or permitting or bringing things up to code. This is an older home, and so it needed to be brought up to code. And so that extra little bit of money would have saved me some additional out-of-pocket expense. But again, 210 still did replace the actual water heater under my regular service call fee. But yeah, the supreme coverage is well worth it, as I'm realizing today.
All right, so on that, just so I understand, what does that cover, Pam? Like, what is that the ultimate one, the supreme?
So yes, so Supreme is our highest level. So some states that we're in, we have Supreme only coverage. In other states, like here in North Carolina, we have our standard coverage and Supreme coverage. And our standard coverage is still very good coverage. And Tom's example is a great example. What the standard is going to cover is the equipment and labor. If we're repairing or replacing a covered item, then that's what the standard is going to cover. The Supreme covers the equipment and the labor to install, plus gives coverage for the permit, bring it up to code, modifications, those extras that you particularly see in a replacement situation that the standard doesn't provide the coverage for. So typically there's $100 to $125 price difference between the standard and the Supreme. But Tom was just saying, you probably brought more than $100 to the table.
On that one, I did, but that's okay. Like I say, you guys still saved me some money and helped to mitigate my risk.
Exactly. So. Yeah. We still covered the bulk of the cost by covering the equipment and the labor, but all those extras, the haul away and disposal fees and bringing it up to code, would have been covered for Tom if he had the Supreme. So the Supreme is our most comprehensive package, and just covers those extras that a lot of times people don't realize they have to pay when they have a system or an appliance replaced.
And you can get this on a rental property, on a property you're just going to lease out as well. Is there any point in occupying the home as an owner of the home that you can't get the home warranty? Well,
great question. The home warranty works well with long-term rentals. We do not recommend it, or we don't cover vacation rentals, the short-term rentals. And it's just because the way our process is designed, again, it's designed to save money for the homeowner. It's not an emergency service. It's not going to be same day service, which many times you need in a vacation rental situation. And we just can't meet that timeline. So, but long-term rentals, it works great. And of course, the owner occupied homes, it works great. You can get the warranty. Most commonly it's gotten during the real estate transaction. but you can get a home warranty at any time.
Well, and I think that there was a Facebook
Go ahead, Tom.
question about, typically, like I say, I always encourage the sellers to provide it. I think that that's the easiest, sale when it covers them during the listing period and whatnot. But if you get, a buyer and the seller is refusing to offer it, and you ask for it in the offer and they still refuse or whatever, especially in this market, that's possible. But the buyer can still opt to get it at closing too. So that's an option.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So sellers can offer it and pay for it, and of course have the coverage during the listing period. And buyers can most definitely get the warranty, purchase it for themselves at the transaction, outside of the real estate transaction. If it's done within 30 days of closing, it's effective immediately for them. They can even purchase longer than 30 days from closing. People that have owned their home for 5-10 years can purchase the warranty. It's just when it's an existing home is what we call it, or a home that they've owned for a while, more than 30 days from closing, we have an additional 30-day waiting period before they can place any claims. And that helps manage our risk, because we want to do that too. Because a lot of times what happens is they close, they don't get the warranty, and then something breaks. And they're like, oh, I'll get the warranty and it'll pay for, whatever it is.
Does that still go into effect if the seller got the home warranty, like as soon as they listed the home, and then there was like a 60-day process to sell the home? Is there still a waiting period then, or no?
No, it's effective immediately for the seller and for the buyer.
Oh, well, then
if they get it at closing. Yeah.
That's the best way of doing it then.
Exactly. So it's just once they get more than 30 days from closing that there's an additional 30-day waiting period.
Well, and although, like I say, I push it because I truly think it is a benefit to my seller and buyer clients, I also recognize that it's a benefit to me, because if I am representing a buyer and the day after closing the HVAC goes out, guess whose fault it is? Even though I'm not an HVAC contractor and we got a home inspection and whatever else, it's my fault because of proximity. I'm the one that they're yelling at because they didn't get the home warranty and now the HVAC isn't working. So yeah, it's always, good for the agents as well, to not have to be the bad guy to tell them, you said you didn't want it, so now you don't have it. So
that's true. And Tom, in some cases I've had some buyers in the past tell me they don't want to do a home inspection, and they have their Uncle Bob say, I'm a contractor, I'll do the home inspection. And I'm like, please. And then they still go ahead, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pay for you guys to do a home inspection. Here it is. And then lo and behold, the home inspector finds crap that they thought wasn't there, right? Mm-hmm. And I bring that up because we do the same thing when it comes down to home warranty. If the seller and buyer aren't going to pay for it, guess who ends up paying for it? Because it makes me look good down the line. Right? Yeah. The agent. Yeah. And I think you hit it right on, Tom, where you said, look, something's going to break.
Yeah.
Something always does. It could be as simple as the garbage disposal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
that's one of the neat things with 210 too, is they'll send me an email if I put the home warranty on as a listing agent, and now it's the buyer that owns the house or whatever else, or certainly if it's my buyer that gets it, I get an email saying, hey, they just got their HVAC worked on, it saved them this much money, and that's a great opportunity for me to reach out to my clients and be like, hey, did 210 do okay, and whatever else, and typically that phone call is gonna be like, oh my gosh, I was so happy that I got it, they were awesome, yeah, thank you for recommending it or whatever. So it's a great opportunity to stay in touch with my clients in those moments where they were saved by the home warranty as well.
Yeah, and you'll both make a great point. It makes you look good, right? And that's what we want to do is make you look good to your clients.
Ron has it's a longer comment, but I'm going to read it.
Okay.
On Facebook, says Ronald Moss, a home warranty is essential in the deal. I've used them as buyer's agents to protect buyers from unseen expensive repairs like HVAC systems, like you said, Tom, appliances that stop working, pools, spas, garage doors, and a whole lot more. It gives a buyer, and this is the key, it gives a buyer a feeling of financial protection if things don't work as they should. Mm-hmm. Right? Usually you can have the seller pay for the first annual premium in escrow. But look, in the market that we're in still, I think, Tom, in your market, it's the same. It's a pretty heavy seller's market. And sometimes the sellers are like, I'm not paying for that. Right. So then it falls on the buyer. And if the buyer doesn't understand it, I'm still pushing for my agents to be like, it's okay. Let's just pay for it. Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel the
Well,
same
and
way?
again, I think that the fact that it benefits the seller during the listing period is still enough of a bonus for those folks. And again, it helps them to compete on a better level and get top dollar and whatnot. I mean, to me, I think in the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the bucket versus what the sellers are getting in this market or whatever, just to protect everybody. And then as far as on the buyer side too, if people are buying new appliances, microwave, range, refrigerator, whatever else, you know, the stores are selling the individual warranties for all those things. And I'm like, for less than the cost of all those warranties, you can protect all those things and other stuff in your home with a 210 home warranty. It's a cheaper, you know, better value. So
That's true. That's very true.
Absolutely. And one thing too, we've had some agents see some success with in the sellers market. You know, as you were saying, Tristan, sellers are like, I'm not going to pay for anything. And I'm sure in your market, you know, we're experiencing it here, multiple offer situations. How do you get your offer to stand out? We've had buyers agents with their buyers tell the seller, if you accept our offer, we'll enroll you in the complimentary seller's coverage to cover you till closing. So instead of asking for something from the seller, you know, the buyer's saying, I'm going to purchase a home warranty, and if you accept my offer, I'll extend this coverage to you. So it's a way to make your offer stand out.
I did that this week, and as a matter of fact, you know, we got under contract. So my buyers, like you say, it's not costing anybody anything extra, and it protects my buyers as well as the sellers because of that, you know, continuity of coverage. So everybody wins at no additional cost. But I just did that with some buyers, and you know, to Tristan's point, you know, I had one where the seller did not offer it, so my buyers, you know, today are paying for it at closing, and that's okay too. I mean, it's still a benefit to them just as much. So
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
One of the things. Oh, go ahead, Pam.
Oh, I was just gonna say, interestingly enough, 33% of our claims are placed within the first 90 days that the homeowners own the home. And it goes back to people live in their houses differently, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So say I'm selling my house, and I've lived in my house 15 years now. So, and I run my air on 76. I've kept it on 76 for 15 years. You know, and then the buyer buys the house and they move in, and all of a sudden they're running it on 72. Well, you've automatically put more stress on that HVAC system than it's used to. You know, we see it with HVAC, appliances, water heaters, I mean, everything. And people just live in houses differently. You know, a great chunk of our claims happen those first 90 days. And, you know, it's like the house and the homeowner kind of settle into a rhythm. You know, they have that first 90 days, several things break, and then you know, we get a lull. And then the last 90 days, we see another spike in claims.
Pam, do you run your AC in 76?
I actually do.
That's funny that you would bring it. You know what? You brought up 72, and that's mine. I have it on 72. Tom, what about you?
My wife will wear a blanket when it's 80 in my house. So yeah, I try and get it to 78. You know, we'll see. So
That's awesome. That's so cool. All right. So I actually have done one thing for our team in the past. I'm going to share my screen just so people can understand how powerful this can be. If you take the time, this is your site, by the way, guys. If you take the time to outline the things that are covered, and sellers can actually see, I mean, especially once you get to the Supreme side, right? So you can see everything that's covered. I think it becomes a lot more powerful. It's like, hey, by the way, this is it visually. And they're like, oh, I bet you no other agent actually takes the time to do that. Can you imagine the added value? Because I think we have to remember at the core of this, the people that are working with us, they have to believe that we're actually going to be able to help them, but they also want to feel safe, right, in the process. And this makes them feel that. So I love that.
Well,
really
and
do.
that's the exact page that I turn to as I explain it, because like you say, it spells it out exactly what all's covered. So I agree. That's a very good tool.
So I have a question, and this one's probably for Pam, unless Tom, you want to chime in too. Pam, what's the number one thing that gets typically like broken or called on the most for people to fix?
HVAC.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. HVAC is our number one. Interestingly enough, with COVID, what we saw last year as people, were home more in their homes, they're cooking more, they're opening the refrigerator more, all that. Last year was the first time that appliances just edged out HVAC for claims. But it was just because people were home all the time with COVID. But typically the HVAC is the number one. Refrigerator is second, and water heaters are third.
I thought it was going to be refrigerator, but I got edged out.
Yeah.
Water heater, I didn't think about that. That's so true.
Mhm.
That would make a lot of sense. So those are the top three then: HVAC,
Mhm.
fridge, and water heater.
Water
Oh,
heater.
interesting.
Mhm.
All right, and Jake says same. I thought it was fridge. Jake, I think it's because you and I always gravitate to the fridge. That's why.
Well, and I see somebody else, mentions reading the fine print or whatever, and that's a valid point or whatever. But that's one of the reasons why I can very confidently speak to my clients about 210. I've had people say we've had XYZ brand, and it wasn't worth anything. And it goes back to, I think, something that we were talking about earlier is they have a much lower price point, and it's because, like you say, that it doesn't cover anything. So but that's one of the things that I very much like about 210 is they have simple plans that actually try and cover whatever. And like I say, I've never had an issue with me or my clients feel like they were had a bait and switch.
All right, I think that's
and there's in everything, any type of insurance or home warranty, there's going to be things that are excluded. But we are very transparent with that in our brochure. We outline if anything's excluded, we list it out right there so that the homeowners, if they read it, can see that information. Our terms and conditions are right there in our warranty brochure. So, because we don't want our homeowners to have any surprises. And that's why we have our team of account executives throughout the country as well. They're always available to answer questions, speak to your buyers or sellers if they have questions. We're the home warranty experts, right? We don't expect y'all to be the experts. So if you ever have clients that don't understand the warranty or have a lot of questions that you don't feel comfortable answering, that's what our account executives are here for.
And your question, Carla, good question. Are you nationwide?
Yes, we are a national company. We do have some states that we don't cover, but for the most part, we are across the country.
Perfect. All right, and prices vary per state, I'm
Yes,
assuming, right?
they do. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And then we just put up the link there. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate that. I'm about to rent out a property, so I actually, in between, I already had clicked on all the buttons and the link. So I already got the quote. That was interesting. So that was pretty fast. Just thought you should know that, Pam.
So thank you, Tristan.
All right, Liz says, Sherry, we agree with you. Make sure you read the fine print. We do our best to take care of our agents and their clients. Very good. Yes, very true. Guys, thank you so much. Pam, I know that we're going to be talking again. You partnered up with LabCoatAgents, so we're very pleased and happy that you did. So I just want people to understand that, like Tom, other agents out there should be using this and leading with it because it's a massive value to your clients. And some clients, like I said, they don't understand, but we step up and we put that in play and say, hey, look, I'd rather look good later than be haggling back and forth over a few $100 here. That's going to save us a lot more in headaches in the future.
Right.
So Tom, thank you so much. Sue, thank you. Appreciate that. And Susan's saying, are you in Massachusetts, Pam?
I I'm not sure, actually. I just don't cover that area of the country. So, but if you'll
click on the
follow
link.
that link on
Yeah.
there, yeah, it'll tell you. So,
Click on the link, and I think, Susan, they cover Massachusetts from what I was looking at, but check on the link. And the only time they don't cover Massachusetts, it's when it's snowing. I'm joking. They cover it all the time. So we're good. We're good. Thanks, Pam. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
thank you very much.